guys and welcome back. My name's Chris and today I thought it'd be really interesting and useful to go over a couple of my favourite study tips. Before we get started, I just wanted to make it very clear that I'm going to be outlining how I personally studied through medical school and my residency and registrar years, but by no means am I telling you that this is the only way to study. I found it really useful to listen and watch videos about people's study habits to figure out where I might be able to pick up a couple of things here and there, and that's all I intend for this video to be today. So without further ado, let's get into it. The way I studied through medical school definitely evolved as my med school years went on. The way I studied in the first 3 years, which were primarily lecture-based and textbook-based, differed very much so to how I studied in my final years, which were much more clinical-based. That being said, I am amalgamating all of my study tips into one big clump for you today. So while some things may not make total sense for your particular journey or where you think I was at the time or where you're at, that's fine. Just take what you think you'll like from it. So like I normally do, I am going to split this up a little bit into 2 different parts. The first part of this video will be about how I studied, as in how I did my notes and things like that, and a couple of tips here and there. And the second half is about the actual act of studying. When I was in the first couple of years of med school, they were primarily lecture-based, like I mentioned. So my study would always begin before the lectures. We were very lucky in that we would often get our lecture notes about a week or so ahead of time. And what I would do is pop on one of my favorite TV shows and type out the lecture slides. I know that sounds absurd, and I even look back and go, how did I do that? How did I find the time or the drive to do that? But it really did help. What this meant is that when I went to the lectures, I didn't have the slides up on my computer because they were in front of me, and I didn't print them out either. I would just type what the lecturer was saying that correlated to that part of the slide. I would also include pictures and diagrams from the slides, so it was really interactive and made the bulk of my notes. This won't work for everyone because I am quite lucky in that I am a very fast typist. Back at my peak, I used to type at about 140 words per minute, and I've recently retested myself and I set around the 110 to 120 mark at the moment. Still extraordinarily fast, but not as fast as I used to be. So I would listen to the lecturer, type what they would say almost verbatim, which was very useful, and then I would go home. Now, for some people, listening to it once and reading it once and typing it once is more than enough, but I'm the type of learner who likes repetition and also to be very tactile. I could go into a lot of detail about the different types of learners. Are you more of a tactile learner, a didactic learner? Do you listen? Do you touch? Do you feel? That sort of thing. But that's not the whole point of this video. But me personally, I like to redo things and handwrite them. So I would have my notes all typed up and then I would handwrite them. When I was handwriting my notes, I found it very distracting having a laptop open and being able to just go on Wikipedia, let's be real, it was Facebook, and go down a rabbit hole and get distracted and spend the whole night doing anything but study. One of the best study tools I had was this Samsung tablet, and I believe I got this in 2012, so it's pretty old, but I've still used it and it got me through my recent fellowship exams too. The whole reason I like tablets like this is because I can't go into another app easily. If I'm closing my notes to open up Facebook, that's that mental reminder of, ooh, should you be closing that? Whilst if I'm online and I'm looking up something, or I'm, for example, watching a YouTube video explaining a mechanism of something, it's very easy to go, oh, look at that recommended. Oh, look at that recommended. Oh, what's happening on Facebook? What's happening on Instagram? Oh, I wonder what I'm missing out on. And it just spirals from there. Again, I'm just a really distractible person at times, so that didn't work for me. So I've got my tablet, I've got my notes on there. What did I do next? I would handwrite my notes in dot point form onto a piece of paper. I have an example here in one of my recent study books from my fellowship exams. You can see it's just a plain book. I believe I got this from Kmart. I have got little sticky notes on the side separating all of the different chapters in it, but I would just, I don't know what this says, but basically I just handwrite things. I put some headings and I just write. It didn't have to be neat and it didn't have to be organized. It just had to be written down. Once I had done all of the rewriting, I would use the textbooks that I had or the prescribed readings or any sort of added learning to be had, and I would fill in my notes that way. Right, so I've got my tablet that has all of my notes on it. I've handwritten them into a book. What comes next? Like I said, like repetition. So what I would then do is do a 1-page summary of that topic. For example, if I was doing asthma or COPD, the whole page would just be on that. I have an example here about COPD guidelines. Just handwrite it, small title, go on, all there. So then if I was trying to revise, I could just go, right, this is it. This is everything I need to know. So this is an amalgamation of lecture notes, what the lecturer is saying, textbooks, and guidelines. So it's really a lot of information in one. And then my favorite part comes next. I would write palm cards. Palm cards, these things, are a lifesaver. What I would do is I would write in a blue pen questions on one side. So, what is the definition of asthma? What is the other name for salbutamol? That sort of thing. And then on the back, I would write in red ink the answers. This was a game changer. I would use these as revision tools when I was sick of studying, if I was on public transport, if I was flying home, if I was bored after or between lectures, if I was with friends for study dates, anything. You just whip them out, you can have a stack of them in your handbag, your purse, wherever, on your desk. They're so easy and so useful. If you take anything away from today, please consider using palm cards. I would not have graduated and nor would I fellowed without them. When it came to exams themselves, obviously I've got all of these notes, all of these palm cards, but I have to relearn it, right? Or I have to at least solidify it in my brain. So what I would then do is get another notebook and I would rewrite things again. But of course now I've gone through the whole term, semester, subject, what have you. So when I'm writing my notes, I'm writing them with the knowledge about what I'm writing and what's coming next, not just blindly rote learning and going, asthma is a diagnosis of blah, blah, blah. It was, alright, so I know that this is the definition, this is the treatment, this is the management, or whatever you were expected to learn at the time. One of the tips I have is to say it out loud. I really like teaching, but to teach you have to know as well. So I would pretend like I was teaching myself from 6 months ago, another med student, that sort of thing. And this really solidified that knowledge in my brain. I'm saying solidified a lot because medical school and medical knowledge cannot be rote learnt. You need to understand it from the ground up, from the basics to the complexities. That's how I studied. It's a lot, like I said. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about the actual habits of studying. When did I study? How did I study? What was my setup like? For the majority, if not all of my med school life, I lived on a college or in a shared house situation, which meant that my bedroom was my everything. My sleeping place, my relaxation place, and my study place. I could go on for quite some time because there's a lot of studies that suggest that this is not fantastic for peak performance or mental health, but it is the cards that I was dealt and the cards that the majority of students are dealt as well. If you have the ability to have a separate study room and a separate bedroom, fantastic, utilize it. If you don't though, make sure that when you're at your desk you're studying and when you're in your bed you're sleeping. Do not study in bed. It's not worth it. Yes, it's comfy. Yes, you might be productive. It's not worth it. Your brain needs to relax and separate. But that's a topic for another time. So I would have my dedicated desk and I would make sure I had fantastic lighting. The study itself makes me feel tired. I don't need to be in a dim lit room to make that worse. Unless I needed my laptop for something, I would have my tablet next to me, my book in front of me, and a pencil case full of my pens, erasers, whiteout, that sort of thing right next to me. And that was it. A lot of people listen to music when they study. I did to an extent, but what I would listen to was more instrumentals because otherwise I'd get distracted. I'd sing along, I'd think about the music videos, I'd look up something from that singer. Instrumentals were the way to go for me. My personal favorites were actually video game instrumentals, which is a bit of a weird thing, I'm sure. As for the timing, I'm definitely a night owl, not an early bird. So, a typical day for me was I would get up about an hour before I had to be somewhere, whether that was a lecture or a placement. Most things start at 8 o'clock here, so I would be up around 7, 6:37, eat breakfast, get ready and go to class or wherever. I would spend time there and then I would come home. Typically this was around 4 or 5 p.m, but it would vary day to day obviously. I'd then try and unwind, give myself a bit of a break, exercise, cook, do laundry, that sort of thing. And then I'd get into study around 6 or 7 p.m. I found that I did study better at night, but I also needed my 6 to 8 hours sleep. Recommendations, of course, are 7 to 9, but hey, you gotta grind sometimes. So I would study approximately from 7 to 10, sometimes till 11 p.m. It really depends. So that's easy to say. I'd study for 3 hours, but it wasn't 3 hours as a whole block. I would study for about 20 minutes or so and give myself a 10-minute break. This is actually a well-known phenomenon for study, and it is worth looking into if you're interested. What I found was really confronting sometimes as a medical student was friends of mine who very, non-maliciously would say things like, oh, I was up till 3 a.m. or I did an all-nighter or I did this. And it would make me feel like I wasn't studying enough or studying hard enough because I was only doing a couple of hours a night. But then I would study with them and I realized, yeah, they're at their study place, whether that was their desk or a computer room at the library or at the library or at the lecture hall or whatever. But quite often they were doing other things too. They were distracted, playing games, having a nap, that sort of thing. And the whole point is not to call out my friends, but is just to say that just because someone says they were doing something doesn't mean they were, and it's just a detriment to compare yourself to others. What works for you will not work for others and vice versa, and that's okay. So if you're listening to this and hearing what I'm saying going, hell no, Chris, that is not going to work for me, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Find what works for you. I think it's also really important to note that you need to keep yourself healthy and safe and happy when you're studying. A tired, stressed out, frazzled brain does not retain information like a well-rested, well-rounded brain does. So please take care of yourself. Make sure you're drinking at least 1.5 liters of water a day. Make sure you're sleeping at least 7 hours a day. Make sure you are getting at least 10 minutes of sunshine. Exercising for half an hour a day or 150 minutes a week. Make sure you are socializing and keeping in touch with people. If you're currently studying now or stuck at uni and you're in quarantine or lockdown, make sure you are utilizing Zoom, not just for lectures but for friends as well. FaceTime, Facebook, whatever. Make sure you're keeping in touch. They say that all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, and it's true. You will burn out so easily if all you do is study and study and study. Take time for the habits and the hobbies that you want to have outside of medicine. They're really important too. One final thing, guys, when you're sitting down to study, have a plan. If you plan to go through a chapter of a textbook, that's what you're going to do that time. And when you tick that off your list, whether it be a lot sooner, exactly when, or a lot later than you anticipated, celebrate and take a break. Don't think that you're going to sit down and read a whole textbook at once. No one gets through a whole textbook at once. If a lecture is 160 slides, say, all right, right now, this session, I'm going to get through the first 20, the first 40. Set SMART goals. Make sure that they're attainable. Make sure that they will not drive you into an early grave trying to obtain them. All right, I guess we should summarize then, because summarizing, very important for study. So my study habits, I would pre-read lecture slides and notes, write down what the lecturer was saying almost verbatim, aside those notes on my computer, have them then in a PDF version on my tablet, handwrite them, write a summary A4 page, and write palm cards. Also, side note, around exam time, I do it pretty much all again. I found it also very useful to print all of my notes and highlight as I went along. Sorry, environment, I'm trying to make up for it now. As for setting up for study, make sure you're in a well-lit area, it's dedicated for study, that you have a plan for your study, make sure that you take breaks, and make sure that you're not just studying. You're a human being as well, not just a study machine. If you found this really interesting or useful, do let me know, and if you want more like this or to go more in depth one way or another, let me know. I'm really, really eager to share what little knowledge I have to make sure that you get a great experience through medicine. Until then, guys, remember that just because everything I've said is my journey does not mean it's going to make sense for you or work for you. Just because I'm a doctor does not mean I'm your doctor. Take care of yourselves. Good luck with everything if you've got exams coming up, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.